Returning now to the studio with more on the developing issues between the Palestinian Authority, Gaza and Israel is Middle East expert and former Arab Affairs advisor of the Southern Command, Colonel Dr. Reuven Berko. Dr. Berko, thank you so much for coming back in today.
Good evening.
All right, so my first question, let's address some of the accusations that Abbas has been making that Israel, the United States, other Western powers, by tacitly agreeing to support certain aid going to Gaza, they're undermining the Palestinian Authority. Do you agree with that?
I do not agree with this because naturally this is a division between those who call themselves a Palestinian nation or Palestine. This is a new invention and the field shows it. Actually, if you examine the situation, you have two separate nations, the Islamic Emirate of Gaza, and those who are collected in the West Bank. Artificially, they try to introduce themselves as unified people, and this is an obstacle for the fake story of Palestinians to appear in the nations as if they have one people, one state, one demand for a Palestinian state. Actually, it can't happen because naturally there's never been a Palestinian nation, never been a Palestinian state, and therefore never been a capital in Jerusalem for a state that never existed. But here it shows, we can see obviously that those who are gathered in Gaza are much more tended to Islamic movements such as the Muslim Brothers and radical militant Islamic movements such as ISIS and Al-Qaeda and others than anything else. There will never be a unification between the two unless it will be artificial.
So that's actually my question. Is that a failed initiative on its face? Is that something that right out of the gate is never going to succeed, Palestinian unification?
I believe that even if artificially they will get a unified government, let's say, there will always be the difference between the two people who live there. Don't forget the history. Those who live in Gaza Strip were all over the last century much more influenced by Egypt, by Muslim Brothers, and those who live in the West Bank are traditionally influenced by the Jordanian, and that's why I predict that the coming future will be back to square one in general. I mean to say that Gaza Strip, at the end of the day, will rejoin Egypt, while the West Bank will rejoin Jordan. And in the case of Jordan, it will be much more easier. Don't forget that the King Hussein, the late King Hussein, wanted to arrange it, and unfortunately, Prime Minister Shamir torpedized it. And today, it seems that the only solution that can be achieved is two separate belongings or federations. One in the Gaza Emirate, Islamic Emirate, will be joined to Egypt, and Egypt will be supported by America and the American Union and the European Union, and Jordan will be supported as well in order to contain these two separate entities.
So might it then actually be, in the end, a good thing if say, the unification efforts between Gaza and the West Bank were to break down? Because Abbas is now saying he's threatening to cut off all the funding, and Egypt is saying they're going to stop mediation. So is that actually maybe something that Israel would allow to happen, saying, that works for us anyway?
You mean to ask whether we allow the unification or we support the separation?
The separation, whether we support the separation.
I believe that we do not stand in between the two options. Even if they want to say to unify, our condition is one, that the Hamas movement will declare that it's giving up all efforts of terror to change political reality and to fight Israel, in short. If they give up this, we will support anything, but they have to declare it and to give up weapon. The monopole of holding the weapon should be cancelled, should be demilitarized. But they will never do it and declare they will not. So in the both cases, we do not stand in between. We are interested in our security, and this is the only thing we are interested in.
All right. Colonel Dr. Reuven Berko, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.